And man, we're just so excited to be joined by Zay Jones on the Raiders Training Camp podcast. And Zay, let's start with the important stuff first. You're out there in the new number, in number 7, looking good, feeling good. How's it feel now to have the new number and starting off the new season with some new digs?
Yeah, it's nostalgic, especially because I wore it in high school and college. So to be back in it in the NFL is a privilege and honor, and it's just super exciting to be back with the guys in this training camp.
Awesome. Well, hey, Zay, this is Jesse Merrick here. Eddie and I were talking about, like, early on for us in terms of training camp, the first couple of days, there's only so much we can take away, until you guys put the pads on. I'm curious for you, like, what is it that you're concentrating on, and, like, what are the things that you pay attention to in these first couple of days here?
Just the detailed the playbook, knocking off the rust, obviously getting timing down with the quarterbacks, snap counts, things of that nature, and then just trying to focus on the small details of the things that are maybe a little bit more difficult to study on your own, actually hearing the quarterback, hearing the verbiage, hearing the coach explain some things, and then go out and execute it in the first couple of days. And then as the pads come on, things progress.
Zay, Coach Gruden was saying the other day that you just showed up to camp in beyond incredible shape. And the entire time that we've known you, first in Oakland and now here, you seem like you were always a guy who took care of your business off the field, showing up in shape. But really, what was the difference, I guess, in this offseason headed into training camp 2021, if there was one at all?
Well, I appreciate his comments. I guess I just take great pride in being ready and being available. You have to be available in this league, such a long season. So I take great pride in trying to stay fit and ready, and just try to kick it up a notch. I mean, obviously, Las Vegas weather helps. It's hot. So if you're outside in 100-degree plus weather, it's going to help you get in shape. But just hydrating and just doing my normal routine, running my miles, running my hills, and just trying to stay on track leading into training camp.
Yeah, kind of to that note, I think what Gruden said exactly was the most conditioned or best conditioned athlete we have on this team, which is awesome. And I'm just curious, like, what is it that you're doing? You kind of noted the hills there. Like, what's your off-season regimen like?
It's kind of the same. It's very simple too. I run fast. I run hard. And then when it comes to distance, it just depends on where I'm at in the off-season. Is the beginning towards the end? But I peak about possibly a 8-mile session. And then if it's with hills, grades, steeps, just different things like that. It just depends. But yeah, I just try to be in the best shape possible. I swim, I run a ton, because that's what receivers do. We run. We have to stay on the field and be ready.
I mean, we get you on the bike, and you're just going to do triathlon, right? So you're going to swim, you're going to bike, you're going to run, you're going to do it all, man. You're going to see you in the Olympics in 4 years. But I'm curious to get your mindset and to kind of look back, if you could, a few years and kind of remember being a young wide receiver in this league. And you're certainly not the old wily vet by any stretch, but you look at guys like Henry and Bryan now going into a really pivotal second year for them. What's the hardest part about being a young wideout in the NFL?
Playing wide receiver is difficult regardless of how old you are, especially in this league. I think the challenge is people now knowing who you are. Sometimes you can come in as a rookie or a new guy, and there's not a lot of film on you. People know about Henry's speed. People know who he is. People know about Bryan, his physicality, how violent he is. So it's just having that film now and people being in the game plan for them. But to start with receiver, it's the week in and week out challenge of great DBs throughout the league, understanding the playbook and how fast it comes at you, and then just executing your route, and then playing when you're tired. It's difficult to do, and performing at a high level. It's difficult to play in this league, but those are two guys that are very sound, very smart, and they'll do just fine this year. Very excited for them.
Well, kind of sticking with those two guys, how have you seen them come back in the offseason, really having a full offseason that they didn't have last year?
Yeah, they look very clean, very sharp, strong, especially for Bryan. He had some things going on. Glad to see him very, very healthy, very strong. Looks like he's ready to compete. Always a guy that I've admired, as well as Henry, but specifically Bryan. I think he's a phenomenal athlete, and he's going to do some very special things this year.
We're excited to see him. And like I said, Zay Jones, our guest here on the Raiders Training Camp podcast. And Zay, you look at this wide receiver core just kind of as a collective, and it feels like this is a really complete group in terms of you have a guy like Henry, who's the speed guy, Bryan, a big physical guy, you as well. I mean, I feel like we have to include Darren Waller in there because he's a de facto wide receiver as well. But when you look at this group, Is this the most complete wide receiver room that you've had since you've been as a Raider?
That's a good question. Well, I think only time will tell. It's still very early. Don't want to make any too bold predictions right now. I like the basis of just the foundation of working. But there is a lot of potential in this group. And, Darren has flat out shown what he can do, and he's a proven guy. And for the younger guys coming up, it's going to be a big step for them to take on that challenge, to prove themselves and earn it in this league. John Brown's a proven guy. Willie Snead's a proven guy. Myself, Bryan, Hunter, Henry, we all have things that we still want to do and want to show. And as far as the pieces, I feel like this could be a very, very complete group. It's all about putting it together and being ready to compete when it comes time.
And one of the things that Derek mentioned 2 days ago, yesterday I think it was the simple fact that like you guys have a couple new pieces where you've got John Brown and you've got Snead coming in here, but for the most part everybody's returning. Just in terms of the continuity, like what has that done for you guys in terms of being able to hit the ground running?
It's less people trying to learn the language that we speak. When there's a big turnover and a lot of people come in, now it's few people trying to teach a larger group. But in this case, it's a large group teaching just a few people, and that helps. So now they're speaking the same language as we are. John Brown coming from the Bills, I kind of know what he was taught there and what things were verbalized there. So now it's just translating it for him. That there means this for us. And it's like those, oh, I get it moments. So it's able to speak the same language. For Willie, I didn't have that relationship, but luckily enough, John Brown had that relationship with Willie when they were in Baltimore. So the turnover has been a little bit easier because we're all familiar with each other. And I can speak for the wide receiver room that there's not a lot of egos. Everyone seems to come in and just want to work. It's not like a cliche, oh, we believe, but like we're truly brothers. Everyone believes in this football team. And we all hold each other accountable, and we're responsible. And I really enjoy this group. It's fun to play with.
Just wrapping up here with Zay Jones. And Zay, we're only 3 days into camp, but I was telling Jesse this the other day. I feel like you guys have so much fun out there. I mean, I'm watching you guys are all dancing. Like, you guys are having a blast. And I know that camp is a drag, right? It is a marathon. But how important is it to just be out there and be like, hey, man, we're playing football. We're having fun.
Yeah, that's what's important, at least for me. It's just try to enjoy this. Football won't be forever. Tomorrow's not promised. So I just try to go out and enjoy the days, whether good or bad, ugly, great, whatever it is. Just try to embrace it and enjoy it. I know me and Marcel enjoy it. We dance, we laugh. Me and Josh Jacobs, we joke. Whoever it is, really just try to embrace where we're at. We get our work in too now. It's not all just jokes and laughter, but it's easy. It's easier when you're around a group of guys that you love and want to win for.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Well, Zay, we appreciate your time, man. I know that we're in the dog days of camp already, and I appreciate you stealing a few minutes for us. So stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll catch up with you soon, all right?
Thank you. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Zay.